Because like as an animator, I would struggle to make that look that real. No, see, I don't like how she turns back all casually like that. Like she just glances back. I hate how natural the movement looks. Oh, no, that's not a guy in a suit. Oh, I hate it. I hate it a lot. Okay, I need to make it stop autoplaying. Now my YouTube feed is just gonna be full of fucking Bigfoot videos because it just autoplayed like a bunch of Bigfoot videos automatically. So anyway. Hey guys. So I think Bigfoot might be real. Please don't close the video. I swear. I swear. I've done the research and I've watched the footage and oh no. I think I believe in Bigfoot. Remember how in the last video I said that my wife had a cabin, or her family had a cabin up in like the Oregon, Washington area? So, yeah, I've got a Bigfoot shirt.
Nice.
It's her shirt. And I asked her because the first one that I found was too small because she's smaller than me. And I asked like, baby, do you have any other Bigfoot shirts? Because I thought I had remembered a different one than the one that I had found. And she goes, oh yeah, I have 3. I love my wife so much. 3, honey? 3 Bigfoot shirts? 1, sorry, my hair is so pink. My regular hairdresser was sick and I didn't want to wait because my roots were like to here in the last video, and you can check on my thumbnails how long it's been since I dyed my hair. So I had a different hairdresser do it, and she made it really, really pink. I asked for red with pink undertones, but we'll see, because like when I do the color grading, you probably won't notice, hopefully. This one goes out to all you Laura heads out there. It's because I had Del Taco in my very first video. It was bad and I didn't have a microphone. Aww. That was literally a month ago. I don't know why I'm clipping this like I'm a little baby, but that's what it looked like. Okay. I still don't have any sponsors yet, so I'm just going to plug my Patreon like always, and I'm actually going to remember to put it on the screen this time. And now, if I've done my job, you're actually watching me pull some of the newest Pokemon TCG release, Journey Together. And I pulled something really cool. I also opened a set of Japanese cards from the same set, so if you want to hear me read out Japanese Pokemon names, you can check that out for the first ever paid Patreon member exclusive video. I say that as if I have more than one. And as if that one person, thank you, Lynn, wasn't literally in my wedding. So if you want to join such legendary company as one of my best friends, Lynn, then go ahead and click the link in the description or head on your own to patreon.com/Laura the Lorikeet. Okay, put your tinfoil hats back on. I didn't wear one while watching the footage, so maybe that's why now I'm a believer. But then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Sorry if I have some nasty sounding coughs in this video. I had a cold last week and it won't go away. So I guess we should start at the beginning and answer the question that few people ever think to even ask. Who is Bigfoot?
Dr. Wrightwood, say hello to Harry.
Everyone always asks if Bigfoot real. Nobody ever asks how Bigfoot is. Bigfoot lonely. I don't know why that was my Bigfoot voice. I don't know. I tried a bunch of different Bigfoot voices, but I went with the first one because it sounded the most Sasquatch.
Off in the distance, I'm hearing squatch calls, very primate-like. Woo! Woo! Twinkle little star!
Bigfoot is known by many names: Sasquatch, Yeti, Skunk Ape, Grassman. If you want a solid working definition, I think Wikipedia's is as good as any. And if you're not going to give me any money, maybe throw a few bucks their way. Wikipedia is the backbone of the internet, and the reason that half of your favorite creators, myself included, sound like we know what we're talking about, because we don't. at all. Bigfoot is a large, hairy, mythical, allegedly, creature said to inhabit the forests of North America, particularly the Pacific Northwest, which if you've ever been to the Wilderness Lodge, no, yes, no, yes. If you've ever been to the Wilderness Lodge in Disney World and you've been to the restaurant Artist Point, now it's Artist Point with Snow White, but like before 2017, I think is when they remodeled it. If you went there, your waiter probably was going to say the words Pacific Northwest an obscene amount of times.
Also in the premium price range, our newest resort, the Wilderness Lodge, offers magnificent wide open spaces and luxury too. It's Disney's answer to the rustic Pacific Northwestern inns of old.
We went, shout out to the homing beacon.
The homing beacon! We ran right into it!
Shout out to Fort Asshole. Patterson 1106. This is all hogwash to anybody who didn't go on the DCP. But anyway, our roommate that we all hated got fired. So we went to the fanciest restaurant we could afford to celebrate. And only one of us was over 21. So only one of us got to drink. But 2 people ordered the cedar plank salmon. And the amount of times our waiter said the words Pacific Northwest, we all looked like we were drunk. It was the funniest thing I've ever experienced. Not really. I'm probably going to cut that. But like the Pacific Northwest. So hopefully I can clip some of that. I wonder how many times in advertising they've said Pacific Northwest for the Wilderness Lodge. It is the Wilderness Lodge, yeah, it is. Okay. Look, I get that confused with the Animal Kingdom Lodge because they both have lodge in the name, so. Lots of lodges. Lots of lodges. Now, the classic Bigfoot, the one you picture when I say the word, is really just the tip of the cryptid iceberg.
Just the tip.
Sure, he haunts the forests of the Pacific Northwest, but America is home to a diverse and thriving population of Bigfoot-adjacent entities. There's a whole decentralized network of regional big feet, each with their own quirks, local legends, and honestly, their own branding. Big feet. Bigfoot. So I've compiled this highly scientific Bigfoot distribution map detailing regional variants, localized nomenclature, and notable phenotypical divergences across the continental United States. Now, as of the publication of this video, the prevailing consensus within the cryptozoological research community is that these entities represent subspecies within the broader Sasquatch clade, rather than wholly distinct species. However, ongoing anecdotal data collection and evolving regional folklore may soon necessitate a taxonomic reclassification. We could be looking at a polyphyletic genus or even a cryptid species complex. I'm so sorry. I'm absolutely fucking with you.
We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up.
Here's a map of all the weird big feet people claim to see while they're drunk in the woods. We have the skunk ape of Florida, the grassman of Ohio, Momo, the Missouri monster, the Honey Island swamp monster, they love swamps in the South, and the bushman of Alaska. The greatest number of sightings are, of course, in none other than Washington state. However, Ohio, California, Florida, and the Appalachian Mountain region of the United States can also lay claim to the title of Bigfoot hotspot. When I wrote this in my script the first time, I wrote Bigfoot hotbox, and that's a way funnier thing to imagine than a Bigfoot hotspot. Some, like in the Appalachian Mountains, are just plain old Bigfoot sightings. But the skunk ape and the Ohio grassman are both distinct enough to be called Bigfoot relatives, rather than big feet themselves. Now, it's not an accident that a heat map of Bigfoot sightings is going to look a lot like a population density map of the United States. That's part of the culture we have surrounding things like cryptids and mysterious sightings. You might have one credible, or not, sighting in one location, and suddenly, if the legend takes off, you begin to see regional copycats, and they pop up with less and less credibility behind them. Everyone wants a slice of the Bigfoot pie. That's not to say that we're a country of increasingly worse Bigfoot legends. No, we have real variety and flavor here. We even have a whole name for it. Cryptozoology. Patrick says it like... Cryptozoology. The United States is home to a vibrant tapestry of cryptids, folklore, and other mythical sightings that natural flora and fauna can't explain, such as the Fresno Nightcrawler, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Mothman, hot, the Jersey Devil, a hockey team, El Chupacabra, I'm from SoCal, so as far as I'm concerned, El Chupacabra is real. He shouldn't be on this list. The Montauk Monster, a raccoon with mange. The Flatwoods Monster, hot. And your mom. Cryptozoology has long been dismissed by science and considers cryptids to be nothing more than folklore and myth. But what about when science can't explain a sighting? What if something can't be easily dismissed as a hoax? Well, why don't we take a look at the granddaddy of them all? The founder of this genre, at least in the US. I think. You would think that I would have looked that up to make sure that Bigfoot really was the first cryptid. I'm pretty sure he was, but, you know. I'm waiting for my teleprompter to scroll. I don't want to pay for the premium version. Now, if you had clicked on any other Bigfoot video besides mine, this is where I would start telling you that stories of Bigfoot-like creatures date all the way back to Native American legend. And I guess that's not untrue. But you have to realize, basically all the literature on the subject comes from white men who already believed in Bigfoot. Some of the more popularly cited of those myths are the Sasquatch, obviously. My cat took a shit on the floor and it smells so bad. I can't even be in the same room right now. There it is. The hairy man of the Yokits tribe. I'm so sorry, I didn't look up pronunciation for this either. We're leaving on a trip in like 2 weeks, and so I really had to get this out fast, along with the next video that I'm uploading, because it's going to upload while we're in Italy. Which, spoiler, that's the video after this one. This is me apologizing to Eddie Burback before I copy his video idea. We'll see. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this in. Oh well. And even the fucking Wendigo. Not that clown. None of these are Bigfoot. Trey the Explainer does a much better job of, well, explaining this. Link in description. But to make a long story short, these are all spiritual creatures who may or may not have ape-like features. And I think all three possess much greater intelligence than Bigfoot is traditionally depicted as having. Side note, I'm getting some of my info, specifically the crazier Bigfoot beliefs, from this incredible gag gift my in-laws gave my wife a few years ago, On the Trail of Bigfoot by Mike Dupler. And guys, I'm reading the intro, and he states that he has always been curious about the paranormal, but then goes on to state that when he and his daughter were driving along Highway 26 in Washington, Mike spotted something that he recognized from years of consuming all types of media about the paranormal, and spotted something he knew was associated with Bigfoot in particular, which seems like more than a passing curiosity, but sure, Mike.
Sure, Jan.
He's referring to this photo, which hopefully I've been able to source in higher resolution and in color, rather than the print that's in the book. He says that he's referring to some upside-down trees stuck in the ground, and I don't see any. Are you sure those aren't just naked, dead trees? Why would Bigfoot even do that? Are you sure it's not beaver? Beaver, I think. I've consumed plenty of paranormal media, BuzzFeed Unsolved, and I've never heard of the tree thing. Maybe I've heard it in passing, along with like the tree knocking thing, which is also ridiculous. Do you know how many animals make noise on purpose for territory? It's all of them. It's probably a bird. Oh, did you hear that? Bro, that's totally the tree knockers. Oh, is that another name for a woodpecker? No, it's a class of Bigfoot society. Some of the big feet will knock on trees to communicate with the other big feet. I have to go. I'm so sorry. Anyway. You know what? No, I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna roast Mike a little bit longer. What I want to do is dunk on some of the crazier Bigfoot theories out there, so that when I tell you mine, you'll understand that I'm not one of those Bigfoot truthers. I promise. Mike is though. Allow me to begin with the table of contents because, wow, it's a doozy. Chapter 1, From Ancient Astronauts to Dragons. Chapter 2, Our Family Tree. Humans, he means. Chapter 3, Sasquatch Lloyd Wright. I don't know. Chapter 4, How does Bigfoot communicate? Oh, okay, yeah. Chapter 5, Sasquatch and remote viewing. Chapter 6. Is Sasquatch interdimensional? No. Chapter 7. Native legends of the hairy man. Why is this chapter 7? Wouldn't that be the start of the myth? Chapter 8. The Minnesota Iceman and other weird tales. Chapters 5 and 6 weren't weird enough. Bruh. Chapter 9. The world of Bigfoot researchers. I bet.
Sure, Jan.
Chapter 10. Investigations and noteworthy evidence. Is that not in the rest of the book? Chapter 11. Bigfoot in pop culture. Oh, you ran out of ideas but wanted to pad the page count. Got it. I want you to know that Chapter 5, Sasquatch and remote viewing, opens with Mike claiming the face he saw in a pile of leaves.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Was a Bigfoot that he caught on camera in the act of remote viewing. The chapter closes with Mike rambling about Saddam Hussein and weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. What? I do not know how that ties back to Bigfoot. Actually, I do, and I wish I didn't. But, oh God, this quote was too good not to share. We have the ability to see remotely, or so it seems. If we can. That's a big if, Mike. And perhaps other primates can as well. The possibility of Bigfoots using this technique to remain hidden is a real possibility. I don't know if it's Bigfoots or Big Feet, and I don't know if I put the typo into my teleprompter when I wrote Bigfoots. Hang on. He says that this is the photo of a Bigfoot face that he saw in the leaves. That was him. That was Bigfoot, a Bigfoot. Remote viewing that Michael caught on camera. And that was him very likely matrixizing. He says Bigfoot's plural, and he capitalized it. So it wasn't my typo, which is way funnier than if it was my typo. I fucking love this book. This has been sitting on our shelf for several years, unread, and I wish I had just literally just opened it to the table of contents. It's a real possibility. I know you're hearing that and thinking, wait, psychic Bigfoot? But all I can hear is Mike loudly implying the existence of other psychic monkeys. Which, that's just Orangaroo, bitch!
Gotcha, bitch!
It says in my script to pull out an Orangaroo Pokemon card, but I don't want to get up. But I have a good one. Hang on. Oh, fuck, fine. That's just Orangaroo, bitch! Orangaroo be upon ye. It's always gonna be blurry because I've got the ring light. Anyway, it's me and my Orangaroo. I pulled him myself. Do you want to buy him? He's on my eBay store, I think. Now that's all well and good, but this next bit, that's the part that I can't explain. That anyone can explain. Not without sounding a little bit like Mike. And that's what two men, Roger Patterson and first name Gimlin, caught on film in location back in 1967. In Northern California in 1967. The Patterson-Gimlin footage was captured in Northern California in 1967 by Roger Patterson, who died in 1972, and Robert Bob Gimlin, who is still alive today. The fact that the film was captured in Northern California surprised me at first, but I looked into it, and the exact location of the creek where the film was recorded was actually lost until 2011. I'm not surprised that we heard Pacific Northwest Mountain Range and collectively assumed they just meant Washington State. It's usually what they mean. Speaking of, here's a photo of me with a Bigfoot statue in Washington State. Before we can dive into what the film depicts, we need to understand exactly how those two men made it down into the creek bed that day. Roger Patterson was a Bigfoot enthusiast before he caught the footage. That's important to note because it could imply bias. However, he was interested in Bigfoot after hearing other contemporary eyewitness accounts about a strange creature allegedly living near Bluff Creek, which is where the footage would eventually be captured. It's not like he was just randomly out there Googling about Bigfoot, like me. He traveled there himself and saw fresh tracks. It wasn't a random infatuation and confirmation bias situation. He joined others in the Bluff Creek area in what would become a several-year hunt for the monster. Again, time and information moved much, much slower pre-internet. It makes sense to me that he would have heard about Bigfoot first in 1959, but not make it out to Bluff Creek until 1962. That doesn't mean he was an obsessed Bigfoot guy. Doesn't mean he wasn't either. He's dead, though, so I can't ask him. Roger Patterson was a man on a mission with limited funds. He published what I can only imagine is a similarly crazy book in 1966 to fund another expedition into the wilderness around Bluff Creek. But, I can't blame him. Crazy sells. Mike is proof of it. There's a non-zero chance that this is just excellent satire. Or, at the very least, hammed up for entertainment's sake. That's not to say that Patterson was a bastion of logic and reason, either. He was kind of a weird guy. There's some bullshit on the Wikipedia page about some hoop toy invention. And some other, typical 60s entrepreneurial nonsense. You know, your dad's weird cousin who's always into get-rich-quick schemes, but none of them make sense. It's never, I'm gonna flip antiques, or I'm gonna get a job. It's always, what if I started selling catalytic converters to people who got stolen from? Then I'm not the one doing the stealing. Or, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. Oh, it's funny because it hurts, and it's true. At this rate, this channel's gonna take off faster than a job hiring me. Please send this video to all of your friends so I don't have to get a job. Please. I don't want to, I already canceled my LinkedIn Premium and I really don't want to have to reactivate it. Please, for the love of God, share my channel around. If you think I'm even a little bit funny, please, Jesus fucking Christ, because I need, please. That was a funny rant that was going somewhere. Maybe I'll edit it in. Plan was to return to the Six Rivers National Forest in Northern California, his previous stomping ground, and film a mockumentary, or if they were lucky, a documentary, about the two men hunting Bigfoot. I've seen this brought up a lot in terms of motive for faking the encounter. Because yeah, they were literally filming a movie about finding Bigfoot, but that's because he needed something to sell at the end of this so that he could come back and do it again. I don't think he thought they were actually going to find anything. It's the equivalent of a YouTuber filming their vacation so that they can write it off on their taxes that year. Another thing that people use to discredit Patterson is that he was involved, or at least met with, several known Bigfoot fakers and conspiracy theorists of the time. I mean, yeah, a fucking course he did. He was also a Bigfoot enthusiast. Is it that surprising that that's who was out there in the deep woods that day? Why else would someone be out there instead of at a regular campsite? I'm serious. Who else is gonna be out in the deep woods like that? I would just go to a regular campsite because I'm not looking for Bigfoot. And Patterson and Gimlin certainly captured something on film that day. And here is the full, unedited Patterson-Gimlin film at its approximate original speed. It was a hand crank camera because 1960s. It's approximately 18 frames a second. And here's an upscaled and stabilized version. I want you to really, really look at her because she is a woman, a beautiful, beautiful woman. And you can clearly make out the muscles in her thigh and her back, and especially the way the light changes as she moves through the creek bed. You can see her breasts. It's got boobies. It's a girl Sasquatch.
It's a girl, Nicole.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm looking at. There's no way someone made that as a costume in 1967. They barely had polyester. What the fuck is that? Now, before we break down whether or not Patty, because that's her name, Patty, is a man in a suit or not, I want you to hear just one uncomfortable story with me. Shall we? Come on. You want to sit down? Yeah. In 2002, National Geographic sponsored a recreation of the Patterson-Gimlin film after a man named Philip Morris claimed to have been the fabricator of the suit for Patterson back in 1967. And while Morris didn't have the original suit, with the proper budget, he'd be willing to recreate it. So, in 2004, around 40 miles west of where the original film was captured, a recreation took place. National Geographic's producer, Noel Dockster, is quoted as saying, "The suit used in the recreation was in no way similar to what was depicted in the Patterson-Gimlin film." Morris refused to release the footage to Nat Geo, and the recreation, as far as I was able to tell, has never been released to the public. So, take that for what you will. And Now, let's go over what I think. Mormons think that Bigfoot is Cain. From the Bible? Was Patty just a man in a suit? This is what I and many others have assumed for many, many years. It's a comfortable truth. It's easy. That's a man in a gorilla costume. I came into this wanting to dunk on the existence of Bigfoot, but I can't dunk on Patty. She's a queen. But as 1967's Planet of the Apes costume designer Morton Hack so eloquently states, it's all so easy to say, obviously that's a man in a fur suit, until you see it up against a man in a fur suit. Or as I like to put it, have you looked at 2025 era gorilla suits? Hell, even Bigfoot suits? I don't even want to call these mascot costumes. These are atrocious. You're telling me this is the best we can do? Now, this area of the debate is something that I consider myself to have at least a little bit of expertise in. I've been cosplaying for over 15 years. I sewed all of these. And while I'm not a furry, I do have furry friends. So I say this with respect and love in my heart, and knowing that I could never do what they do. That shit looks so hard. Carving foam with a hot knife? Shaving your suits? No, thank you. No, thank you. I get stressed out when I have to burn a little bit of ribbon with a lighter, and that shit looks like a walking furnace. Maybe it's fine in the Midwest where it gets below 60 degrees more than once a year, but I'm on the same latitude line as fucking Morocco. I would die. Do you know what holiday Anime Expo is held on? 4th of July! It was the 4th of July! I'm getting off track. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think even the best fursuiter out there could replicate this in 2025, let alone 1967. In fact, if you told me this footage was made in 2025, I'd assume it was CGI. It looks too good to be AI. Allow me to lay out my resume as to why I think I know what I'm talking about here. Mabel? I majored in 2D traditional hand-drawn animation in college. Like Illusion of Life, 9 Old Men type shit. Cuphead was my Mona Lisa, okay? I'm trained to analyze micro movements and be able to tell what makes something look real. And then I've also been making costumes for well over a decade. Where the fuck is the zipper? The back seam? The neck seam? Why can I see through the fur and onto her skin? Ugh! The way she just naturally throws her arm back while turning her head to look at the camera? If this was animated, I could sit here praising the attention to detail for days. The way her arms swing, the weight and the surety of her steps. She has titty physics! And unless you glued the fur directly onto a linebacker, the world's largest woman, or made a suit out of like real animal pelt, but like, then where the fuck is the suit? Because whoever made that might just be the most talented costumer the world has ever seen. Look at these characters from Planet of the Apes, please, that came out in the same year. Notice how the apes are always wearing sleeves? The makeup is only on their faces and hands, probably. Also, they have very clear neck seams. That's why the fur goes over their collars. Do you know what Patty doesn't have? A neck seam. There's no cape that goes over her trapezius, at least not that I can see. Compare that with the Sully costume that they use at the Disney parks. This triangle? When Patty turns her head, you can see the muscles change shape. That's not a cape. Not even with the distortion of the old film camera. Like you can see it change based on the angle of the light. You can see the ridge change. I could honestly go on for days as to why I don't think this is a suit, but I'll leave you with this last one. The footprints found in the creek bed were 14.5 inches long, which is equivalent to a men's size 22 shoe, American. That's the same size as Shaq, but Patty's were almost a full 1.5 inches wider than a size 22 shoe. if we're going to mention Shaq, yeah, so we did invite Shaq to our wedding. We invited a lot of celebrities to our wedding just to see if they would send us like autographs back or like write us back. And not a lot of people responded, but Shaquille O'Neal was one of them. Ta-da! See, and he said to Megan and Laura, congrats and good luck. And it's because I wrote him the story of how he showed up to my middle school and made us all promise to never do drugs for Red Ribbon Week. And then he picked, like, there was a popular kid who was at my school who was known for being kind of a short guy. And so Shaq picked him up by the armpits like Simba in The Lion King and lifted him up and told us never to smoke weed or do other drugs. He landed on our middle school field in a helicopter, and there was a cop on a horse, and they had a coffin with a mirror in it. This is completely separate, by the way, from every 15 minutes, which is a thing that my high school did do, which is where they, on the PA, every 15 minutes, they like do a Hunger Games canon. And then a person gets pulled out of their classroom. And so like, if it's not your classroom, you wouldn't have seen it happen at all. You would just hear like, bong, and gone on with your day. But if you're in one of the affected classrooms, the Grim Reaper will walk in and take the kid away. And then they go to a hotel for the rest of the day, I think. And then at, like right before lunchtime, they're like, there's an emergency. We all got to come out. And there's a fake car crash outside the front of the high school. And like the ASB kids are like acting like the ASB president is like pretending to be drunk and stumbling out of the car accident. And then there's another girl who like died. And the idea is that every 15 minutes, a teenager dies in a drunk driving accident. And, and that's why they're being pulled out of your classrooms. And then the next day you have an emotional assembly and everyone like cries and stuff. And they put a smoke machine in the fake car accident. This was unnecessary. Tax dollars at work. Because I did go to a public school just in a very, very white area. Anyway, imagine putting on those shoes and trying to walk like this. No watching where you're going, no tripping, no falling, no balance issues. Could you do it? I couldn't. Oh, also, at a conservative estimate, the footprints were found at least 42 inches apart. So Patty was clearing the full height requirement for the Matterhorn bobsleds in a single bound. Not even a bound. A single chill-ass step. And now, instead of me trying to fake my way through the anatomical evidence, I've decided to hand this off to someone with actual expertise. So, allow me to introduce my wife and resident veterinary technician, Megan. Take it away, Megan.
I'm not even gonna look at this at all. I'm gonna turn this iPad away so I don't get distracted. Otherwise I will look at it too much. Hello! I'm drinking soda. Hello, and welcome to my science corner. I need to redo this. I'm starting over. Hello, and welcome to my science corner. Yay. I've been working in the veterinary industry for 5 or 6 years now, meaning that I know a lot about a lot of different kinds of animals. I've seen a lot of kinds of animals, and I know a lot of kinds of animals. What that means is that I know a lot about animals. I've seen a lot of animals. I've touched a lot of animals. And this looks like none of the animals that I know. And if I don't know this animal, then you don't know this animal either. Because I know more animals than you do. I've seen more animals. Sorry. I hope you can use some of this, baby. I love you. I love you so much. I'm trying really hard. The beginning was the hardest for me. It was the part I was least confident about. Anyway, let's get the dumbest theory out of the way first. Was Patty a bear? One of the animals that I know, one of the animals that you know. I'm watching the video here. Does that look like a bear to you?
Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up.
It's not a bear. It doesn't look like a fucking bear. It doesn't look like a bear. But some people do say, when they try to explain away Bigfoot sightings, they say, okay, well maybe they just were seeing bears that escaped from the circus. What if they were seeing escaped circus bears walking upright in the woods? How many circuses are losing bears? How many bears are escaping from circuses? To account how many times are circuses going through woods? I don't think it's a bear. And even so, if those sightings are bears, look at the video. This video is not a bear. It's not a bear. Does it look like a bear? No, it does not. Next, was Patty a human? Now this is where we get to deal with the big words that I love that Laura did not want to deal with. First thought, if he's a person, hypertrichosis or werewolf syndrome. Very interesting, very fun. But usually that does only affect someone's face and their chest, usually not their arms and everything else about them. So, and also doesn't make them kind of look weird and with weird proportions and big and tall. So I'm not sure about that, because like, look at her arms. Look at her arms. Why are they so long? You remember? I heard a noise. Because like, you remember the rule, like the rule in high school, middle school, like for the girls, that your shorts had to be, couldn't be shorter than your fingertips. You had to put your fingertips and like, usually that would like be like your mid-thigh. So you didn't have like booty shorts at school. Patty's fingers are touching her knees. She could only wear Bermuda shorts. She could only wear Kevin James huge shorts. She would look like bowling for soup. Laura just wrote Kevin James huge shorts in the script, so that was very funny. But you know, maybe she just has long arms. People have long arms. Who am I to judge? But are these arms too long to be people? Are these arms not too long to be human? Science does have a way of checking, actually, called the intramembral index. Intramembral index.
Outstanding!
Intramembral index, or IMI for short. Oh god. Oh no. Teleprompter. This is mainly used in primatology to assess the locomotor adaptations of a species. Basically kind of like seeing how the species moves or might have moved in the case of fossils and extinct primate species. So doing like the math on like the bones that you find. So the formula and the true reason Laura wanted me to do this segment is, put it on the screen right here. So the IMI is calculated by dividing the total length of the forelimbs, which is the humerus and the radius, and the total length of the hind limbs, which is the femur and the tibia, and multiplying that by 100 to then display it kind of like a percentage. Kind of like it is a percentage. Higher IMIs, which are those over 100, usually, not usually, they do. Why do I keep saying usually? You know, it's hard to read things when they're in parentheses.
Intramembral index.
Higher IMIs, which are those over 100, indicate longer arms and legs, and these are usually arboreal species, or, you know, ones that swing from tree to tree. These are like gorillas and orangutans. Lower IMIs, which are those under 100, indicate longer legs and arms, and are typical for upright walking bipedal species. A human's IMI, for example, is between 68 and 70. I saw one site that cited 72 as an average, you know, around that side. That puts us at mostly equal arm and leg length. You know, our legs are slightly longer than our arms usually. And you know, we walk upright. The closer you get to 100, you kind of where your legs and arm length levels out with each other. And those are kind of like the mid-length, midpoint, like quadrupedal species. Anyway, many people have done the math. Many other people have analyzed the Patterson-Gimlin, our beautiful Patty. They've analyzed her and come up with an IMI range of around 90 is actually. I've seen 90 to 100. I've seen 80 to 90. My math was about 90. So that's not quite human, and that is not quite ape. Fun fact, chimps are about like 108, 110. Gorillas are like 120-ish, maybe 117. Orangutans are higher than gorillas. I don't really know what they are though, but their arms are really big. But yeah, anyway. I mean, but also like, have you looked at it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it walk? It doesn't look like how a gorilla walks at all. Laura, I'm gonna need you to find a montage of walking gorillas for me, please. But you know how they're always kind of like, when they walk and they stand up, they're always kind of bending like a little bit forward. Like if they don't go fast, they'll like fall over because they really have to clench their abs in order to really hold themselves upright. So that's why I really don't think that this is a gorilla. Also, one fun thing, gorillas, when they pat their chest like this, they're actually cupping their hands like this. And so when they go, it makes more of a noise. And that is like a territorial thing between males. That's kind of neat. Right, back to her not being human. Oh, got ahead of myself. Even if we ignore the IMI, fine, maybe these are human arms, whatever. And there's one other feature that we can pretty definitely rule out Patty as being a human, in a suit or otherwise. So the footprints that were found in the creek bed have evidence of something called a mid-tarsal break. Your tarsals are these bones on your feet. So they're right before you get to your toes, so they're like these bones on your hand. Humans, their tarsals, we have a rigid arch, which means that we cannot bend our feet, fold our feet. But you know who can pick things up with their feet? Monkeys. Monkeys and apes and other NHP, vocab word from earlier. It's clear that she had this mid-tarsal break in her foot, which is also a very odd thing that you would put on you would know to put on a suit. How would you know how to do that? So no, I don't think Patty was a human. And where does that leave us? Does Patty resemble any animal that we know of? Well, and none that are alive right now. But Patty does bear some resemblance to early hominids like Gigantopithecus or Neanderthals. Because even though great apes don't have hair on their chest, do you want to know who does have hair on her chest? Mother Discovered in 1974 in Ethiopia. A collection of hundreds of fragments of fossilized bone comprising 40% of a female skeleton. Caveman. I'm saying she's a caveman.
I want you to know that when I was writing this is not where I thought I would end up. I don't think this is where you thought you would end up when you clicked on my video. But the footage is what it is. And I can tell deep, deep in my cosplayer soul, that is not somebody in a suit. Not in 2025, not in 1967. Genuinely? Do you want to know what I think genuinely? And this is taking a lot of guts to say on film, especially because I know my mom watches my YouTube channel and one of my old high school teachers. So I'm so sorry. You did teach me better. Genuinely, I think Patty was the last surviving member of a holdout population of Gigantopithecus or some other early hominid species. I know that sounds insane, but think about it. It was 1967. As far as the super rural areas of the country were concerned, it was still pretty rural and unexplored. At least boots on the ground, eyes on the wilderness. This is also likely the time where habitat loss and urban construction would have forced an apex ape predator like Patty closer and closer to humans to find food. This is well documented in bear and cougar populations, for example. Gigantopithecus is often dismissed by skeptics as not fitting the appearance or whatever, but guys, we only have a jawbone and some teeth from Giganto. Who's to say she wasn't one? We don't even know what Giganto looked like. I'm not saying there are still big feet out there. They're all dead now. But I am saying that history is a lot longer and deeper than most people can wrap their heads around, than most people are comfortable with. We might not have fossil evidence of the species that Patty comes from, because fossilization itself is so rare. So I don't know what Patty was. Maybe in the future we'll finally find the Patterson-Gimlin suit, and then you can all come make fun of me for acting like I knew what I was talking about. But I think cavemen may have survived until 1967. So if you see someone tree knocking this weekend, maybe knock back. Tell them Laura sent you. Thank you so much for going on this weird journey with me. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell your weird uncle. And for the love of God, don't glue fur to your chest. Thank you so much to my patrons. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Bye. I don't know if I want my catchphrase to be bye, but that's what it is. And if you're still watching, you have to comment and tell me what you think my end catchphrase should be. Because if you do, then maybe I'll actually do it, because no one ever comments on my videos. So you could be the first. You could influence. You could have an effect on your new favorite creator's videos. All you have to do is comment. That's all you have to do. It really is. Why are you still here? Oh, you're still here? What are you still doing here? It's over. Go home.